My name is Ezra. I work at BBB, Give.org, the Wise Giving Alliance. I work both as the research analyst. So I work with some of you directly on, putting together the reports that we publish online. And then also in this past year, I've come to be the manager of GiveSafely.io, our new project that helps donors give safely and charities receive cryptocurrency and engage with donors and experiences around that. But to get us started off, I'd like to introduce our CEO, Art Taylor, to say a few words kind of generally, broadly about crypto and charities. And from there, I'll give a brief presentation. I'll talk about the issues. Again, generally, we don't have that much time. And then I'll give a quick teaser on GiveSafely and what it is, what it does, and then we'll go right into discussion. I know there's a lot of people on this call that probably have more knowledge than me, and you want to hear from each other as well. So we'll leave a good amount of time at the end there so you can ask questions and engage that way. So without further ado, Art Taylor, CEO of BBB, Give.org, Wise Giving Alliance.
Thank you, Ezra. And I just wanted to encourage everyone to participate fully in the conversation today. But if you are not speaking, please try to keep your phone on mute because we want to create the best possible sound for the recording. Well, Ezra asked me to just talk a bit about my journey with the project that we currently have, which we call GiveSafely.io. And that journey actually goes back some time to about 2008 when I had a conversation with my son, who was a freshman in college, and he told me about this thing called Bitcoin. And I had no idea what he was talking about. He vaguely knew what he was talking about, and he did because his roommate had actually written a book about it. And I said, well, send me the book. I'd like to see it. And he sent me the book. I had no idea what the kid was talking about in the book. It was just way beyond me. But I've learned in my life that when young people are onto something, we should pay attention. We oftentimes think of ourselves as mentors, but we should also consider reverse mentoring. And I'm often very happy to be reverse mentored, especially by young, bright people. And so I kind of kept a loose connection to this concept of cryptocurrency, which they were calling this Bitcoin. And some years later, I noticed in the lobby of our building that there was a machine that was essentially dispensing a cryptocurrency. You could go in and actually put money into this thing and you would get an electronic currency called Bitcoin. Later on, as the popularity of Bitcoin began to surge and cryptocurrency began to surge, I noticed also that people were not only talking about the coin itself, the currency, they were also talking about the underlying technology. And this is really what got my attention. This is what turned me from sort of a passive sort of purveyor of what was going on with this whole space to someone who was a lot more interested in what might be going on, because there were many banks and other financial institutions investing billions in this concept of payments through this blockchain, they were calling it, blockchain technology or distributed ledger technology. And I felt like if major banks were looking at blockchain as a potential future for the transfer of value, maybe I needed to know something more about this, particularly as it related to the charitable community. It was at that time that I decided to actually take a class on it with Oxford University Said Business School. And I learned quite a bit about how to use blockchain as a strategy and to create some advantage for your organizations using this technology. I learned a lot about the various use cases for blockchain. And when I was done with the course, I was convinced that there was something we could do at the Wise Giving Alliance to open up this opportunity to charities. And Ezra and Bennett and some of my colleagues, Julie Rizzo, will remember my excitement when I pulled them all into the room and began talking about this thing I think we can create. We can create a way for people to donate to charity in a very safe way using blockchain technology and actually receive an incentive for their donation in the form of a cryptocurrency, which Ezra will talk about later today. But the major concern that we were noticing, and one of the things that drove me to really want to do this, was that we continue to see a decline in the number of people donating to charity. And while the amount of money is relatively the same that charities are receiving, it's mainly because wealthy people are giving more. But the average person seems to have begun to abandon our charities. And I think that says a lot for our society. It's something that we need to pay a lot of attention to. In my mind, maybe there are things we can do to inspire them to give, and to encourage them to give, and to offer incentives for them to give. The tax incentive doesn't work for the average person anymore, right? Because we don't see that they're able to take advantage of the charitable deductions anymore because of the increase in the standard deduction. People aren't able to deduct from their taxes. So that's no longer an incentive. So it's got to be something intrinsic that makes us want to give. And I still believe that's there, but maybe we can do more. And we think we're able to do some of that with this new technology. And the last thing I'll say, and before I turn it over to Ezra, is that the success of this technology will in large measure depend on how willing you are to become familiar with it, to play with it, to take advantage with it, and to join us in building this in such a way that it becomes a destination for donors to support you. So while this is certainly about you receiving donations in cryptocurrency or cash, it's also about building a community of trusted organizations where donors feel secure in their donating and believe that their information is being protected, but we're also incentivizing them to provide donations to you and also their data so that you can create a stronger and more resilient relationship with them. So with that said, let me just turn it over to Ezra to sort of take you through what we've created here and to see what you think of it. Go ahead, Ezra.
Thanks, Art. And yeah, like as Art said, as charities, we tend to be a little risk averse sometimes, just because we don't have a lot of extra resources to experiment with. But we should be aware of kind of the trends and what's coming. And I think crypto and cryptocurrency donations are definitely coming, if not here already. So I'll start out talking about cryptocurrency donations, and then GiveSafely as a way to kind of perhaps help charities come up to speed on it, and as Art said, interact with donors. Let's share screen. Okay, and now I will do this. Can everyone see the presentation?
Mhm.
Okay, great. So this is where you are, Coffee with Colleagues. So what is cryptocurrency? Obviously, we won't be able to go into depth on any particular thing very deeply, but I think it's worth understanding of it as kind of just a digital medium of exchange, right? So currencies, so many things have been used for currency, back in the day, from items of value such as food or seashells or gold coins to now paper dollars. Well, now cryptocurrency is also being used, and it's really kind of bits and bytes that exist, somewhere on the internet. But that somewhere on the internet is called the blockchain, as Art mentioned. And the blockchain is where the ownership records of this digital currency are stored, and it uses deep, very strong encryption to control the creation of additional coins, to verify the transfer of coins from one person to another, so that there aren't kind of multiple owners of the same coin and whatnot. And we can go deeper into that in the conversation later if we want. But again, it's secured by a blockchain. And Art, just to make sure the slides are going forward, right?
No, they are not.
Oh, they are not? Okay,
You're
so I
not
must
moving
be.
through the slides. Sorry. There you go.
Thank you. Thanks, Julie. Maybe I'll leave it like this for now. Okay. So yeah, so a cryptocurrency is a digital medium of exchange. It can also serve as a digital store of value. The conversation around Bitcoin right now, especially, is people are calling it digital gold. They might not be using it to buy a sandwich or a hamburger or something at the store, but they're holding it as a store of value, and then it exists on the blockchain. What makes the blockchain interesting is that well, it depends on the blockchain, but they're usually built around either distributed or decentralized networks. If you think of, say, the traditional banking system, you have the Federal Reserve, which distributes money, or if you think about another centralized system, like when you're shopping on Amazon, everything goes through Amazon servers, and then you connect with the folk who are selling on the other side. Decentralized is a bit more distributed than that. There's kind of nodes along the way. So that would be more like, the Federal Reserve and the banks interact with people. But some blockchains are distributed, where everyone is kind of on an equal footing interacting with each other. We call that kind of peer-to-peer. So there's no one in the middle that can turn it off. There's no one in the middle that can, stop things from happening, decide what happens, what doesn't happen. And so everybody's kind of interacting as equals in this kind of distributed setup. Why do people use crypto? And again, I'd like to hear more answers kind of after I finish here. But for a lot of folk, it's about autonomy and control, especially after, if you remember back to the 2008 financial crisis, people felt really betrayed by banks, and not being able to control their money and have it devalued so much by the financial institutions actions and whatnot. People care about the decentralization aspect, be able to interact with each other directly without having to interact through a company. So to be able to pay someone without, giving 3% to Visa or MasterCard or a payment processing company. So similar to that, to be able to send money without the banking fees. I know some of you work with international programs, and the process for sending a wire to a different country. It takes about a day for your bank to kind of get up to speed on it, and then it sends it to the other bank, and it takes a couple days to settle before the money is actually in the account. Well, with cryptocurrency, it can happen instantly or within 10 minutes. Accessibility, now people can pull cryptocurrencies up on their phones, on their computers, and then also again the strong security, being backed by blockchain encryption, and then also knowing kind of the rules of the game. For example, Bitcoin has a rule where there are only going to be 21 million Bitcoin minted, so there's going to be no inflation of the currency and whatnot. So who uses crypto? We've been looking at this Edelman Millennials with Money study, and they talked about how millennials with money, they use peer-to-peer payment networks, but then also 25% of them use or hold cryptocurrency, 31% are interested in using cryptocurrency, and then 74% say technological innovations like blockchain make the global financial system more secure. So there's an interest, especially among younger people, about trying new things, but not being tied down to the old rules. And I think there's a spirit of that autonomy, that control, decentralization within folk too. We did a poll in December of this past year, asking, I think it was around 2,000 adults across the country questions. And we asked them, do you own cryptocurrency, say Bitcoin, Ethereum, any of those? And we found that it was really concentrated along millennials and Gen Zs. 23% of millennials reported holding crypto, 25% of Gen Zs did, compared to 12% on average. It's great to see the maturers, they've got their 1% too. We asked those who said that they did not own cryptocurrency whether they expected to own it within the next 5 years. And again, millennials and Gen Z stood out. 14% of millennials said that they do expect to own, and then who don't own now expect to acquire in the next 5 years. And then Gen Z's almost 20%, 19%. And again, this was December 2020. A lot of things have changed since then. Crypto is really trending upwards. You hear about it more and more in the news now. The price of Bitcoin, I think, what was it, around the first of the year, it was right around 30,000. Now, depending on the day, it's between 48 and 55,000. Got all the way up to 58,000. So it's kind of in the zeitgeist, in the news. People are talking about these meme coins as well, like Dogecoin. And then you hear news about kind of these institutions that are, on the S&P 500, like Tesla, buying Bitcoin for their balance sheet. So it's really kind of seeping into society. It's trending upwards. And I think part of that is due to, and it will encourage more of this, but kind of improved ease of access. Back in the day, to be able to buy cryptocurrency, you had to go, meet someone somewhere, or, you had to trust someone enough to send them money and do these kinds of things. But now the apps that we all have on our phones, or especially like the young people have, PayPal, Cash App, Robinhood, allow people to buy cryptocurrency. Cash App, one of these apps, reported that they had 3 million people who were buying and selling Bitcoin in 2020. But then in the month of January 2021 alone, they acquired 1 million new Bitcoin buyers on their app. So it's growing very, very quickly. So how do we compare as individuals and as charities? How much do we own cryptocurrency, and how much how involved are our charities? My colleague Madhu is going to put a poll out right now, and it's an anonymous poll, so feel free to answer it the way you want to, and we'll review the answers later.
Okay, it's in progress right now, so let me know when I should end it.
Okay. Yeah, let's just leave it up for a while people can fill it out. So coming to charities and crypto, well, do donors give in crypto? Again, in our poll, we asked, would you consider making donations to a charity via cryptocurrency? And overall, 73% of respondents said yes. Again, importantly, millennials and Gen Zs, millennials, 78%, Gen Z, 73%. So, folk are open to it for sure. Fidelity Charitable, they, well, between 2015 and summer 2019, well, in summer 2019, they released a report saying that they'd already received $100 million in cryptocurrency donations, in those 4 years. And then recently they just put out another report saying that, well, in 2020 alone, they received $28 million in cryptocurrencies. And that was up 115% from 2019. So there is interest out there. We don't have much data, and maybe someone here does that could share it with us later when we're in conversation. But our sense is that it's there a bit, but it's definitely there's room to grow. Some of the benefits to donors and charities. Well, one is for charities to meet donors where they are, right? If all the millennial users of cryptocurrency kind of distrust traditional financial systems or have their wealth in crypto and want to give to charities, it behooves the charities to be able to receive it, and speak the language of those donors and kind of show that, you're current with the way they see the world as well. And then there's just tangible benefits. Obviously consult with your tax lawyers, but in terms of capital gains, the IRS considers cryptocurrency to be property. So when you sell your cryptocurrency, it gets taxed like property, so like capital gains. So if you imagined a donor who had invested $20,000 in cryptocurrency, a year ago or a month ago, and then this investment grew to be worth $100,000, and they wanted to donate that to your charity. Well, if they cashed out the $100,000, they'd have to pay $16,000 in capital gains, right? The 20% long-term capital gains. So I guess if it were over a year, so the total that they would give you would be $84,000. But if they made a direct donation in crypto, they wouldn't have to pay those capital gains taxes. So they would get the full deduction of $100,000 on their taxes. And then you as the charity would receive the full $100,000. So there's definitely benefits to charities and donors in terms of kind of the tax implications. But there are some barriers for charities. You have to have a staff member or a group of staff members who are familiar with cryptocurrency and get that buy-in from leadership, and then put it through all the legal departments and the financial the financial departments as well. There's also challenges in terms of kind of managing your crypto accounts and the wallets. If you have everything at an exchange, that's one password. And it can be reset and changed. But if you own, individual wallets, it's only one password, and it can't be reset. So if you lose that, everything's gone. And then, if you do use individual wallets, you also have to, find a way to get that from the wallet to the exchange and turn that into cash. There are a number of exchanges in the US that are regulated by the US government that you can use, and they do give you all the addresses you need to accept crypto donations, so you could potentially receive it directly to the exchange and then exchange it yourself. There are also services that will do that for you. You sign up with them, they give you your address where you would receive the cryptocurrency, and then they would exchange it directly into cash for you and deposit that to your bank account. So things are getting easier that way. And I know some of there are a couple of charities that we work with that use that sort of service as well. And then, there's a challenge of issuing refunds. Some charities just say, because you're giving in cryptocurrency, we won't be able to give you a refund. Because, let's say someone gives you Bitcoin on one day, it's worth this much, you change it into cash, and then, the price goes way up and people want a refund. That's a huge amount of money that, you would have to make up somehow. And then, charities need to think about, well, if you have just a wallet or an address to receive donations out there, what happens if people give to you anonymously? Is that something that your charity wants to expose itself to? And that's for each charity to kind of think about the implications and whether there are legal implications around that as well. I think we can look at the poll results, and I've got it right here. So the first question was here, and I'll pull it here. Do you own cryptocurrency? Let's see, we got 27% of people said yes, 13% said no, but I plan to, and 61% no with no immediate plans. So 27%, that was actually above the 12% average that we saw in the survey of donors. Next question, do you expect more donors to give via cryptocurrency in the future? 61% said yes, 5% said no, and 34% said, I don't know. And then, does your charity accept cryptocurrency? Oh, so 19% said yes. 39% said no, but we have discussed it. and then 42% reported no, and we haven't discussed it yet. So I'm going to hit end polling here. Oh, okay. And I'll hit share results so that people can see that. So GiveSafely. It's a program, again, of the BB Wise Giving Alliance, and our role is to, help both donors and charities. We help donors give wisely and kind of understand charity accreditation, what that means, and then, visit our reports online. And then, with charities, we build relationships with you. We do these reports every 2 years where, we evaluate you against the standards and kind of help you come up to standard in any areas that where you might not be meeting the standard. So we kind of exist in this special place. So kind of in keeping with our mission, we thought we'd put together a tool to kind of help bring donors and charities, again, donors and accredited charities around cryptocurrency and blockchain and rewards. So I'm going to play our little intro video for you. I might not have shared the audio. Sorry, folks. Okay.
Do you worry that the charities you're giving to are trustworthy? Do you worry about your personal information being sold, stolen, or used inappropriately? Do you want to get rewarded for giving and sharing your data and connect with causes you care about? GiveSafely.io allows you to find a cause and charity, give safely, and get rewarded. When making a donation, you decide what personal information you share. It's secured by blockchain encryption. You get rewarded with giving points you can use for fun experiences, like a conversation or AMA, Ask Me Anything, with a charity staff member on what their work is like day to day. All charities listed are trustworthy. They meet the 20 BBB standards for charity accountability. GiveSafely.io doesn't have access to any of your personal data or donations and doesn't take a transaction fee. For more information, visit GiveSafely.io.
Great. And I'll show you the site, but just to go over our goals again, it's to provide donors a way to give to trusted charities. So again, a way for donors to know that they're giving to charities that are trustworthy because they've met the 20 BBB standards for charity accountability. To help donors secure their data by using blockchain encryption. So again, there's no centralized database. It all goes via the blockchain directly from them to you, the charity, all their information. And then to help, as Art said, incentivize individuals to give more, to earn rewards, so that whenever someone gives via GiveSafely, they earn automatically 3 giving points. And then for each additional piece of data information that they choose to share, say their age, where they live, that sort of thing, they earn an additional giving point. They can then use those giving points for reward experiences with the charities, again, who are on the site. And then, to provide charities a way to connect with younger tech-savvy donors in new ways. Again, to meet these donors where they are, speaking the language that they speak, to help charities set up, crypto donations and kind of delve into that space and kind of learn about crypto and blockchain, as Art said at the beginning, as a community. There's no charge to participate. We receive no transaction fees, and we do not come into contact, with the donor data or the donations in any way. It's very much the way we see it. It's us fulfilling our mission of bringing charities and trusted charities and donors together. So let's take a quick look. It should be here. So this is our homepage. I'll make it a little bigger there. As you can see, we go for a pretty, light, clean layout. The project overall is iterative, so we're kind of changing and developing as we go. We very much, want to meet, again, donors and charities with their needs. So we're very open to that. 3 easy steps. You give to charities safely, you get rewards, and then you redeem them.
Ezra, we still see the PowerPoint and not the site.
Oh, okay, thank you. Let me try sharing this one. Okay, here we are. Yeah. So yeah, donate to charities you can trust. So that's the first page. All the charities are listed, again, meet the 20 BBB standards for charity accountability. I think, we have 19 up now, so would love for more of you to join. But each charity kind of is listed there. You can search you can sort by name or choose a cause. And then, each charity has a profile that, let's say you click on. You each get to put kind of a background image, your logo, a write-up. Some charities have more words, some have less, and then there's opportunity to give safely now. You'll see that the logos here, those are for cryptocurrencies. So those show what cryptocurrencies the charity accepts, for example, Bitcoin or Ethereum. Other charities also accept PayPal, for example, these folk. So you'll see the PayPal logo there, and that means you can give via PayPal or credit card. Each profile has the accreditation of the charity and the charity's website where you can visit. So a donor can trust, but again, donors like to verify for themselves and visit the charity's website. And then to give safely now. A donor would enter their name, their email address. Those are the 2 required items, and that would earn 3 giving points. And then each additional item, let's say, I entered my phone number, that would earn me another giving point, and so on. And then eventually they would go through and select whether they wanted to give via PayPal, Ardor, Ignis, whichever donation method that they choose. Once they've gone through that whole process, I'll save us the time. They earn a particular number of giving points, and then they can use those for rewards. So they'll be able to see how many giving points they've earned, and then they'll be able to choose from one of the reward experiences that are, again, listed by the charities. They don't have to choose a reward experience from the charity that they donated to. So let's say I donate to arts charity. I can use my giving points for a reward with Madhu's charity, because maybe I go to the rewards page and I've always supported animal organizations, but something caught my eye about this health organization, and I want to talk to somebody from that organization, and we can get more into that later. From the charity's perspective, when someone donates to you, you receive the donation directly or directly via PayPal. If it's via PayPal, the cryptocurrency goes to you directly, or PayPal goes to you directly. We don't touch it. The data goes to your online charity account directly as well. So you'll each have a charity dashboard, which lists all your donations, whether they've come via PayPal, via Ignis, or Bitcoin, Ethereum. You put your account key in there, and that'll unlock the shared data, and you'll be able to see the donor's name, their age, or whatever they choose to share. And same thing when someone redeems a reward with your charity, you also receive the data. So you'll get, at the very least, their name and email address, and then any other information that they chose to share at the time of donation. And finally, we also see this as kind of a community building project for charities around blockchain, around cryptocurrency. So we're developing more resources for charities. So we built a charities corner with where you can register. We'll share all this information with you in an email after the call, and then resources, how to create your account, information on cryptocurrency, information on setting up your rewards, frequently asked questions, stuff to put on social media, and whatnot. Art, is there anything that I'm missing here? Ben, you're muted, Art.
There you go.
There we go.
No, I think you're covering it quite well. I just want charities to maybe appreciate a little bit of what we mean by reward experiences. Maybe we can get into that a little bit. But essentially, what we're talking about here is an opportunity for every charity to engage more deeply with their donors that come to this interface to connect with you. And you can do that by offering, for instance, a 15-minute chat with, some charity executive in your organization. You can offer them a tip for how to do something. Let's say you're an animal welfare organization and someone wants to ask a question about how to best train a new puppy or something like that. You can speak with them directly about how to do that, or how to adopt a pet. You can speak to them, directly about how to do that and offer that. You can also offer, other types of virtual events that you might be hosting to people in exchange for their giving token. So we want you to think creatively about this. We haven't even begun to think of all the possibilities, but the more creative you are, the more I think you have the opportunity to draw in your donors to be more consistent and regular supporters of your work. So that's a big piece of what we're trying to do here. Through the incentives that you create, they become more sticky with you as donors. And as Ezra mentioned, the data piece is really big too, because I suspect that many of the ways that you receive money from charities, particularly like episodic gifts from Facebook and other places, you don't really get the information from the donor about who gave. So you don't have a way to follow up with them to make them essentially your donors. They're a one-time donor, but they don't come back. On the other hand, we want to make sure that people who want to remain anonymous, so to speak, at least they don't want to share much of their information, can do as much of that as possible if they choose. So what we do is we say, if you give us certain information, then you get something in return. If you don't, that's fine. You can still make a gift. But the charity appreciates getting your information so that they can establish a relationship with you. And if you do that, we'll give you something in return. So, those are some of the key features of this. And I know that many of you will have lots of questions about, what we're doing. I saw one question: how do I know if I'm accredited? Well, you can find out if you're accredited very simply by reaching out to us, or you can go to give.org and look up your organization to see if it's listed. Another person wanted to know whether or not we would accredit them. And yes, we will accredit you if you go through the accreditation process. So, another organization thought they were accredited, but weren't listed in this particular list. We can very easily change that. If you are an accredited organization and you want to be part of GiveSafely, you're eligible for that. So just reach out to Ezra. So there are many ways we can address some of the concerns that I've seen in the list, not concerns, but questions. And maybe we should just get into some of the questions now, Ezra, to see what people have to say and what they want to know.
Sure. Madhu, were there any questions in the chat that?
Yeah. So the first question is, are there any crypto exchanges or services that nonprofits are using at this stage?
Yeah, definitely. There's a number, again, to exchange Bitcoin for dollars here in the US, you have to use a regulated crypto exchange. So there's a number, Coinbase, Kraken, Gemini. And they all have kind of know your customer procedures for institutions. So you have to fill out, a whole series of documents and forms and kind of provide the ID of the person who's going to be the main contact and whatnot. Some of them, it's a two-step process. Some of them do it right away. Some of them do it faster than others, but it's definitely there. As you'll see, some of the charities on GiveSafely, they're in the process of doing that now. They wanted to get their profile up, receive the PayPal donations, and then, they're working on setting up those crypto exchange accounts at the moment.
Okay, the next question is, what about the potential for embezzlement from the accounts, particularly if the passwords can't be changed? What happens when employees working with the crypto accounts leave the organization? How do auditors view these accounts?
Yeah, I'll leave the second part as to how auditors view the accounts, if anybody is in that space. But one of the things you can do is you can set up a new wallet for your organization. When someone leaves the organization, and that'll have a new password. The other alternative is if you're just using an exchange to receive the donations, you can change the password on the exchange account because they're holding everything for you. It's similar to like when you interact with a bank account, you can change the bank account password or disable that user's login.
Okay, someone asked if this is the same concept as NGO Universal Giving Platform. I don't know what that is.
I'm not familiar with that. If there's anybody on the call who's familiar with it.
Julie Pendel.
Is there anyone on the call who's familiar with NGO Giving Platform? We can look into it and follow up with you, Julie. Somebody asked, about wallets versus exchanges, for individuals, people who keep their cryptocurrency in a wallet, their own thing, again with one password that nobody has access to. Again, it gets to their autonomy and control, and nobody can take your cryptocurrency. You have complete control over it. So there's kind of a lot of philosophical implications tied to that. For a charity, you definitely have to think about what role you want a cryptocurrency to play for you. If it's just something that you're going to turn directly into cash, it might make sense to just have an exchange account. If you're going to hold cryptocurrency, it might make sense to have a wallet where you have complete control over it, so that if an exchange goes down or something happens, it's still in your possession that way. But again, if there's anybody else who wants to talk about that, please chime in.
Somebody wanted to know if we ever heard of, Ken, you wanted to know if we heard of is it called Maharlika coin? I've never heard of that one, but it's something we could probably look up on Coinbase and see if it's out there. Or CoinMarketCap might have a listing of it as well.
Yeah. And at the moment, there's, Bitcoin, which is, the largest and most well-known cryptocurrency. There's Ethereum, which is the second largest. And then there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of what they call altcoins out there. And each one of them is kind of built in different ways, has different use cases and whatnot. And then there's also, I guess, coins that are tied to a particular currency. So, USDT coin. So that's, $1 is, one USDT coin, and so forth.
I'm trying to think. There was someone wanted to see what some of the experiences were, some of the rewards were. Is there one we can pull up, Ezra, just to show an example of what one of the charities have offered? I don't know if we can do that or not.
Okay, so Save the Children. They put video conversation with let me see if I can make the text a little bigger. With Save the Children. Thank you for donating through GiveSafely. Have you ever heard of a Reddit AMA? Ask me anything. Well, this is an AMAA. Ask me almost anything. By claiming this reward, you will be invited to join a private live video call with an experienced Save the Children staffer for 15 to 30 minutes, depending on the number of participants. There may be other donors on the video call too. Be sure to provide your email address during the donation process so that we can schedule a mutually convenient date via email so that we can announce the Save the Children staffer and so that you can submit your AMAA question in advance. Here are some thought starters. Did you know that we were founded more than 100 years ago, participated in the Declaration of the Rights of the Child, created the school lunch program, work in 120 countries, and so on. We find that a lot of that it seems that rewards that could potentially be very successful tend to be fairly low pressure, versus come listen to us speak to you for 2 hours, more like let's have a conversation. Also, maybe a shorter period of time. It's easier for younger folk to commit to that. And then also rewards that combine some sort of like human with kind of mission elements. Like, as Art said, if it's a charity who works with animals, I'll talk to you about my dog and how I take care of him, and then the larger implications, for dogs around the world. And, I want to hear about you and your dog too, that sort of thing. And the way we see it for charities, it's, this is your way of creating a relationship with the donor, that kind of first step. They say that with millennials, the last thing you want to do is ask for money. So there has to be kind of some run up there. So this is potentially a way for them to kind of find you and get to know you and start building that relationship.
Somebody wanted to know if there was an API that would connect a person to the charity's website. There's not an API, but as you can see, for every charity listing, there's a link to the charity's website. So if someone wanted to give directly to you through your website, they could very easily do that just by clicking to your website. So there wouldn't be a requirement that they go through GiveSafely. But if you didn't have, for instance, a way for them to donate a cryptocurrency, GiveSafely.io would be a good alternative for that. So you could definitely set up your wallet on GiveSafely and receive a cryptocurrency of different types on GiveSafely. And again, one point I want to make too is this isn't necessarily to replace anything that you're currently doing. That's not what we're trying to do here. What we're saying is, here's an opportunity for you to do something in addition to. I believe that we live in an and world. We live in a world where you do this and that. We don't live in an or world anymore. We're not binary. We're spectrum. So we have to think in terms of spectrums of opportunities, not simply binary opportunities. And I know that's hard sometimes to wrap our brains around, because we are taught that if you do one thing, it kind of forecloses your ability to do something else because of time and energy and resources. But we really have to monitor that. I think we have to look at and be surprised by how much we are able to do now because of technology and ease of communication. We can do a lot more now than we used to be able to do. So we can be in an and world, and a lot of our competitors are in an and world. So just something to think about. This is an and opportunity.
And to that point, the barrier to entry for GiveSafely is basically, you provide a logo, a background picture, some text, and your PayPal address. And then, you start the process within your organization of creating crypto accounts, which may be something that you have to do, 5 years from now anyway. So why not start now? And we're here to kind of, help you each step of the way as well. And then the cost, there's no cost to participate. And you could potentially be reaching new donors that you can bring into your, usual donor ecosystem once you have their name and email address as well.
So here's a good question. Someone wants to know if GiveSafely works as an exchange, or would they have to hold the cryptocurrency as an organization? We do not operate as an exchange. So whatever donations you receive, whether that be in cash or cryptocurrency, goes directly to you. Then you would have, as an organization, to decide whether you wanted to hold that cryptocurrency or convert it by going to an exchange to get cash or some other type of cryptocurrency. So no, we are not an exchange. Mm-hmm. We want to be out of that business. We're not in that business at all. This is, as Ezra mentioned up front, it's a peer-to-peer situation, with the donor being one of the peers and you being the other peer. There's no intermediary. This is a disintermediated situation. At most, we are a platform that aggregates your organizations into one place so that people can find you and deliver cryptocurrency and receive something in return. But we are in no way in the middle of the engagement that takes place between you and your donor. Any other questions?
And if any of the charities on who do use cryptocurrency, now you can't hide, we know there's 19% of you. If you want to share some thoughts about your experiences doing it, some of the successes you've had, some of the challenges that you faced, please, unmute and join in, or, add something to the chat.
I see a
And we
couple.
also have Bennett Weiner, our COO, on the call. Bennett, do you have any thoughts to add?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that if people had additional questions about accreditation, a couple things. You go to our main website, give.org, and there's information about how to get accredited, what questionnaire form you'd have to fill out, and there is no charge for the accreditation assessment that we do. And so there's no charge for that either. And then we go through a process of review. You get a draft of a report that we produce, and you have a chance to comment and correspond. And then a final one is eventually posted, indicating whether the organization meets or does not meet standards. So that information is there. The other thing is GiveSafely.io is not a separate organization. It is just a program of the BBB Wise Giving Alliance, but we put its own website in order to contain it and have a place where people can get that crypto information and other things on blockchain that we're trying to help. So it's not a separate entity. It's just a program of the BBB Wise Giving Alliance itself.
Yeah. Great, Bennett. Well, we're really excited about this. We invested our own funds to create it, but we created it with the thought that this would be a trusted place for charities to embark on their journey with cryptocurrency donations. We felt that if charities wanted to do this, they would be much more comfortable working with us, an organization that stands for accountability and transparency, than to try to go out and do it on their own. And you certainly don't want to go out and create your own blockchain. We've already done that through the good offices of our board members and one board member in particular, Elizabeth Meng. We have this now. This is an asset for our sector to use, and we just hope you'll take advantage of it. We want this thing to be full of charities in their offerings. We think this is a great way to potentially connect with donors. We want you to use it on your own website. You should put a link on your own website to GiveSafely so that people can click from there and make a donation to your organization. And one of the things that you may find, as Ezra pointed out, and I want to make this clear, someone may donate to your organization, which is great, give you your information. But when they're on the GiveSafely platform, they might see some other charities that they're interested in sharing their rewards with. So let's say I gave a donation to Red Rover, and I discovered that Save the Children, had a block on here as well. I might want to go see what that offer is and share my cryptocurrency with them, share my giving points with them, so that I could get the experience with them. Same thing could happen to you. Somebody might give to another organization and see your organization on there and say, wow, let me find out about what their offer is, and I'll take that offer up. So there's lots of different things we can do. Some organizations may have swag that they want to offer. You'd have to be in the business of distributing that swag. We don't help you with that. But if you have some swag that you want to give in exchange for giving points, that's cool. So there's a lot of things we can do with this. We're going to be building more on in the future, of course. But we wanted to give you some exposure, especially now, because obviously cryptocurrency is in the news. And I know many of you can no longer ignore this. For a long time, you can just say, like I did, it's not a big deal. But at some point you see all the money involved and the opportunities to use this technology, and you say, all right, we got to pay some attention to this. And we thought we might have about 20 people registered for this thing today. and we had, quite a few more than that. I don't know what the exact number is, but it was well into the 70s or 80s. So real cool that so many of you signed up and participated. And find Ezra. Ezra, his email is, you put your email in the chat, Ezra. So if anybody wants to reach out to you to get signed up,
Yeah,
he'll
we'll
certainly
follow
make
up with
sure
an
that
email
that
too.
happens. And if you have any other questions, let us know. We hope you'll all participate and take this experience with us. We'll be also reaching out to you to get your ideas on this too. So, you're part of, every charity that we accredit is part of a community. We call it the Trusted BBB Wise Giving Alliance, the Trusted Give.org accredited community. And we're doing lots of things, including educational opportunities like this, giving opportunities like GiveSafely, opportunities to further make your organization known to donors through things like advancing collaboration, building trust series, the podcast. We have a new Heart of Giving podcast to encourage donors. So there's a lot of things that we're doing outside of just accrediting you that will help us build this community and inspire donors to give to you. So stay in touch. We'll certainly be staying in touch with you. And between Madhu and Ezra, we'll be in touch. So I think we can end this session now. We appreciate you coming, and stay tuned for the next Coffee with Colleagues or Intercession. Thank you, everyone.